Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. Imagine this scene. It's the 2008 Big Ten Indoor Track Championship. The race is the 600-meter final, and a decorated runner named Heather Kampf is sitting in second place, just entering the final lap, perfectly positioned to take the lead. She's a champion. This is her moment. The crowd is roaring, and then, in a heartbeat, her heel gets clipped. She goes down hard. This isn't just a stumble. She goes sprawling across the track, face bouncing off the red surface, legs tumbling over her head. It's a brutal fall. The crowd gasps in unison. The announcers practically write her off. She's now dead last, with virtually no chance of catching up. Hold that image in your mind for a moment. The champion, face down on the track, the race seemingly over. Because if you've ever felt that way about your own goals, if you've ever kicked off a new year with sky-high ambition, only to find yourself derailed and defeated by February, then you know exactly how Heather felt in that moment. We've all been there, haven't we? We set New Year's resolutions to lose weight, save money, or become better versions of ourselves. For a few glorious weeks, we're unstoppable. But then life happens. The motivation fades like morning mist. And soon enough, those big dreams become just another item on the maybe next year list. What if I told you it's not your fault? What if the reason our goals crash and burn has nothing to do with lacking willpower, and everything to do with following a broken system? That's the revolutionary promise of a truly remarkable book, Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. This isn't another self-help book crammed with empty platitudes. Hyatt, who spent years as CEO of a $250 million corporation and is now a world-renowned leadership mentor, has invested decades researching the science of achievement and testing his findings with over 25,000 students. He's discovered that achieving your dreams isn't magic or mystery, it's science. Today we're going to walk through his simple, proven, 5-step plan together. By the end of our time, you'll understand why your past goals have failed, and you'll have a clear, actionable blueprint to ensure this next year becomes the year you finally win your race. So let's go back to that track. Heather Kampf is on the ground, the other runners pulling away. What happens next is a powerful lesson in what's possible when you refuse to stay down. And that's exactly where our journey begins. When Heather Kampf hit the ground, a vacuum of silence sucked the energy right out of the stadium. Everyone assumed her race was over, but in that split second she had a choice. Stay down, accept defeat, and let the story end there. Or get up. She got up. She didn't hesitate or think about it. She pushed off the track and started running, closing the distance with a fire nobody expected. The crowd, which had gone silent, began to roar. One by one, she passed the other runners. Then, in the final stretch, she overtook her own teammate to claim first place. It's an incredible story, but what's truly profound is the question it forces us to ask ourselves. Why do some people, when they fall, stay down, while others get up and win? Michael Hyatt argues that the answer begins long before the race even starts. It begins in our minds. It begins with what we believe is possible. This is the foundation of Step 1, believe the possibility. Hyatt tells a wonderful story about his family's dog, Nelson. Nelson was a sweet dog with one bad habit. Whenever the front door opened, he would bolt. After a few scary close calls with cars, the family installed an invisible fence. It works by burying a wire around the property that communicates with a collar on the dog. If Nelson got too close to the boundary, his collar would give him a little warning vibration. It worked beautifully. Nelson learned to stay within the yard. But here's where it gets fascinating. After a while, they realized the collar wasn't even necessary anymore. The battery had died, or they'd take it off, but Nelson still wouldn't cross the line. You could stand on the other side and call his name, offer him his favorite treat, and he wouldn't budge. The barrier was no longer in the yard. The barrier was in his head. How many of us live our lives with an invisible fence around our potential? We tried something once and got zapped. We failed a test, got rejected, or fell short of a goal, and now, Even though the external barrier is gone, the internal one remains. We tell ourselves stories. I'm just not good with money, or I could never run a 5K, or I'm not creative enough to start that business. Hyatt calls these limiting beliefs, and they're the single greatest poison to our goals. He explains that our minds operate from one of two fundamental worldviews: scarcity or abundance. A scarcity mindset believes there's never enough. Not enough time, money, or opportunity. It's fearful, stingy, and sees challenges as roadblocks. Charlie, a former client of Hyatt's, lived here. He complained about everything, hoarded his knowledge, and believed life was rigged against him. And his success always seemed just out of reach. An abundance mindset, on the other hand, believes there's always more where that came from. It's thankful, confident, generous, and sees challenges as opportunities. Hyatt's friend Robert embodies this. He greets everyone with a smile, invests in others' success, and as a result, success comes back to him in countless ways. The first step to your best year ever is to consciously choose abundance. It's about recognizing your limiting beliefs and upgrading them to what Hyatt calls liberating truths. So how do you do this? He offers a simple 6-step process. First, recognize the limiting belief. When you hear yourself say, "I can't," or "I always," that's your clue. Second, record it. Write it down. This simple act externalizes the thought and strips away its power. Third, review it. Is this belief actually serving you? Is it empowering you? The honest answer is almost always no. Fourth, reject or reframe it. If it's plainly false, reject it outright. If there's a kernel of truth, reframe it. Instead of, "I'm too old to start a business," you could say, "My age gives me wisdom and experience that younger entrepreneurs lack." Fifth, revise it. Write down the new, liberating truth. And finally, sixth, reorient yourself to it. Start living as if this new belief is true. This isn't about faking it until you make it. It's about understanding that our beliefs shape our reality by shaping our actions. If you believe you can't, you won't even try. But if you believe it's possible, you start looking for ways to make it happen. You remove the invisible fence. But even with a powerful new mindset, there's still a weight that can hold us back. It's the baggage of the past, unresolved failures, unacknowledged efforts, and lingering regrets. This brings us to step 2, complete the past. You can't drive forward if you're only looking in the rearview mirror. Hyatt says that before we can design our future, we need to get closure on what's behind us. He introduces a powerful tool used by the U.S. Army called the After-Action Review. It's a simple process for learning from experience, and it has 4 stages. First, you state what you wanted to happen. What were your goals, dreams, and expectations for the last year? Think across all the areas of your life, not just work, but your health, relationships, and personal growth. Second, you acknowledge what actually happened. This is where you get brutally honest. What were your disappointments? What regrets are you carrying? And just as important, what did you accomplish that you're proud of? What should you have been acknowledged for but weren't? This isn't about blame. It's about honest assessment. Often we're doing better than we give ourselves credit for. Third, you learn from the experience. What were the major life lessons from the past year? Hyatt shares a painful story of being fired by a client right before landing a huge deal. It was devastating, but he learned invaluable lessons about not putting all his eggs in one basket and securing alignment up front. We must distill the wisdom from both our wins and our losses. Fourth, you adjust your behavior. Learning is useless if it doesn't lead to change. Based on what you've learned, what will you do differently going forward? This process clears the emotional clutter and allows you to step into the future with wisdom and confidence. Within this step lies a profound secret. Hyatt reveals that our biggest regrets often point directly to our greatest opportunities. He calls this the opportunity principle. Research shows that we feel regret most strongly in areas where the chance for corrective action is greatest. That nagging feeling about your health, your career, or a relationship isn't a sign that it's too late. It's a sign that it's not too late. Regret isn't a roadblock. It's a road sign, pointing you toward where you need to go next. To complete the past, Hyatt adds one final, crucial element: gratitude. A spirit of gratitude is the ultimate antidote to a scarcity mindset. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, building the resilience and optimism we need to strive for big goals. So now you've upgraded your beliefs and made peace with the past. The runway is clear. It's time to take flight. This is step 3, design your future. This is where the magic happens, where you stop drifting and start intentionally steering your life. But as we know, most goals are doomed from the start. Lose weight or save more money are wishes, not goals. They lack clarity and power. Hyatt provides a powerful framework to fix this. It's an upgrade to the well-known SMART goals system. He calls it smarter goals. Every one of your goals should check these 7 boxes. The first letter stands for specific. A vague goal has no power. Don't just say write a book. Say, finish the 50,000-word first draft of my fantasy novel. The second letter is for measurable. How will you know when you've succeeded? Make more money is not measurable. Increase my sales commissions by 20% is. Measurement allows you to track progress, which is a huge motivator. The third letter stands for actionable. A great goal starts with a strong action verb. Not be more healthy, but walk for 30 minutes, 5 times a week. The fourth letter is for risky. This is Hyatt's brilliant twist. The old version stood for realistic, but he argues that realistic goals are boring. They don't inspire us. We need goals that stretch us, that pull us out of our comfort zone, and into what he calls the discomfort zone. This is where growth happens. If you know exactly how to achieve a goal the moment you set it, it's probably not big enough. You want to aim for something that makes you a little nervous, a little scared. But be careful not to enter the delusional zone, a goal so impossible it only leads to failure. The sweet spot is a risky goal that forces you to grow. The fifth letter is for time-keyed. Goals need deadlines. A goal without a deadline is just a dream. Acquire 5 new clients becomes powerful when you add, by June 30th. Deadlines create urgency and focus. The sixth letter stands for exciting. If your goal doesn't resonate with you on an emotional level, you won't have the fire to push through the tough times. It has to be something you want, not something you think you should want. Does this goal engage your heart? And finally, the seventh letter is for relevant. Your goals must align with your current season of life, your values, and each other. If you have a newborn at home, a goal to travel the world for 6 months probably isn't relevant right now. Using this smarter framework, you can design a portfolio of 7 to 10 powerful goals across the different domains of your life, from your finances and career to your health and relationships. Hyatt also makes a brilliant distinction between achievement goals, which are one-time accomplishments like running a marathon, and habit goals, which are ongoing activities like exercising 3 times a week. A great plan includes a mix of both. Now you have a fantastic plan, but a plan is just a map. You still need the fuel for the journey, especially when you hit what Hyatt calls the messy middle, that long, difficult stretch where the initial excitement has worn off and the finish line is nowhere in sight. This is why we need step 4. Find your why. Motivation is the engine that drives goal achievement. Hyatt says the most common reason people quit is that they lose their why. Your what, the goal itself, needs a powerful why behind it. He stresses the difference between external motivation, doing something for a reward or to please someone else, and intrinsic motivation, doing something because it's personally meaningful to you. Intrinsic motivation is a far more powerful and sustainable fuel source. To find your why, you need to ask yourself for each goal, why does this really matter to me? And don't stop at the first answer. Go deeper. List every reason you can think of, then prioritize your top 3. These are your key motivations. When Hyatt was writing his bestseller Platform, He got buried in other work and was ready to give up. He felt defeated. Then he pulled out the list of his whys for writing the book, to help thousands of creatives, to establish his authority, and to prove his own system worked. Reconnecting with those powerful reasons, not just intellectually but emotionally, reignited his passion and carried him to the finish line. You must write down your why for every goal and review it constantly. It's the lifeline that will pull you through the messy middle. But you don't have to make the journey alone. In fact, you shouldn't. Part of finding your why is finding your who. Hyatt shares the story of J.R.R. Tolkien, who almost gave up on writing The Lord of the Rings multiple times. The only reason he finished, Tolkien himself said, was the sheer encouragement of his close friend C.S. Lewis. Success is not a solo sport. We need a community. We need friends who will provide encouragement, accountability, and even some healthy competition to keep us sharp. So now you have the belief, you've cleared the past, you have a brilliant plan, and you're deeply connected to your why. There's only one thing left to do. Step 5. Make it happen. This is about execution. It's where the dream meets the pavement. Hyatt warns against the trap of paralysis by analysis, embodied by the Civil War general George McClellan, a brilliant planner who was so cautious he never wanted to attack. A plan is useless without action. The key to action is to make it easy. Forget the old advice to eat that frog and tackle your hardest task first. Hyatt says that's a recipe for procrastination. Instead, he advises doing the easiest task first. When you start a big project, break it down and identify the smallest, lowest bar next action you can take. This creates quick wins, which release dopamine in your brain and build momentum, confidence, and motivation. To make action even more automatic, he introduces a powerful tool called activation triggers. These are simple if-then statements that pre-decide your response to a specific cue or obstacle. For example, instead of relying on willpower to exercise in the morning, you create a trigger. When my alarm goes off at 6 a.m., then I will immediately put on the gym clothes I laid out the night before. You're not deciding whether to work out when you're groggy and tired. You made the decision when you were clear-headed. This simple trick dramatically increases follow-through. Finally, to stay on course, you need an instrument panel. Just like a pilot flying in the dark, you need a way to track your progress. Hyatt recommends a 3-part review system. A daily review takes just a minute. You scan your list of 7 to 10 goals and identify your daily big 3, the 3 most important tasks you can do today to move you closer to your goals. A weekly review is a bit deeper. You reconnect with your why, do a mini after-action review of the past week, and plan your weekly big 3 for the week ahead. And a quarterly review is a chance to step back and assess your goals themselves. Here, you have 5 options. You can rejoice in a goal you've achieved, recommit to one you're falling behind on, revise a goal that's no longer realistic, remove a goal that's no longer relevant, or replace a removed goal with a new one. This system keeps your goals alive, dynamic, and perfectly aligned with your life. This 5-step process, believe, complete, design, find, and make it happen, is a complete system for turning your biggest dreams into your daily reality. It's a roadmap that takes you from being a passive passenger in your own life to being the confident pilot, navigating toward the destination you've chosen. When you step back and look at your best year ever, you realize it's more than just a book about goal setting. It's a book about intentional living. The most powerful lesson, for me, isn't found in any single step, but in the elegant way all 5 steps work together. Hyatt understands that human beings are not robots. We can't just create a logical plan and expect to execute it flawlessly. We're emotional, psychological creatures, driven by belief, haunted by the past, and fueled by purpose. His system honors that reality. It starts with the heart and mind, upgrading your beliefs. Then it deals with the emotional baggage, completing the past. Only then does it move to the practical planning, designing your future. And it supports that plan with emotional fuel, finding your why, and a concrete execution system, making it happen. It's a holistic approach that addresses the entire person, not just the part of you that makes to-do lists. The idea that our biggest regrets reveal our greatest opportunities is a profound reframe that can turn sources of shame into sources of power. And the concept of designing goals that are risky, that live in the discomfort zone, is a liberating challenge to stop playing it safe and to start aiming for a life that truly excites us. So how can you begin to apply this wisdom today, right now? Let me offer 3 simple actions. First, identify just one limiting belief that's been holding you back. Maybe it's about your intelligence, your creativity, or your discipline. Write it down. Now, right next to it, write a new, liberating truth to replace it. For example, if your limiting belief is, "I'm terrible at public speaking," your liberating truth might be, "I am learning to share my ideas with confidence and clarity." Put this somewhere you can see it every day. This is the start of upgrading your internal software. Second, pick one goal that truly matters to you. It could be big or small. Now find your why. Write down at least 3 deep, personal reasons why achieving this goal is important to you. Not to impress anyone else, but for you. What will it bring to your life? How will it make you feel? Connect with that emotion. That feeling is the fuel you'll need when things get tough. And third, embody the leap principle Hyatt talks about at the end of the book. Never leave the scene of clarity without taking decisive action. You have clarity right now. So take that one goal you just identified and think of the absolute smallest, easiest, lowest bar next step you could take. Not the whole plan, just the very first step. Is it sending an email, making a phone call, Googling a piece of information? Whatever it is, do it now. Or, at the very least, pull out your phone and schedule it on your calendar for tomorrow. Don't let this moment of inspiration fade. Take a leap. That was a summary of Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. We've explored the core of his 5-step plan today, but I want to be honest with you. A summary is like looking at a travel brochure for a beautiful country. It can show you the pictures and describe the highlights, but it can never replace the experience of actually being there. The real magic of this book happens in the quiet moments of reading it, when a particular story connects with your own, or a simple exercise unlocks an insight you didn't see coming. This summary is your travel brochure. If anything we've discussed has sparked a sense of possibility within you, I wholeheartedly encourage you to book the trip. Grab a copy, because reading it isn't just about learning a new system. It's an experience that can genuinely change the trajectory of your year, and maybe even your life. You can find a link to the book in the description below. Also, if you found this journey valuable, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It tells us we're on the right track and ensures you won't miss our next deep dive into another life-changing book from the Billionaire's Bookshelf. Thank you for joining me. Let's keep growing together.